Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dota 2 update for the week of April 25th, 2011. We took a small little break last week because I was on vacation and there's no way I could get one of these bad boys out on that. However, we are back and we are ready to update you guys on the latest and greatest tidbits coming out of the Dota 2 news cycle. So today we have 3 topics for you that I'm going to summarize a little bit and then jump into detail right afterwards. First of all, the Swedish online store Compel.se might have just leaked the price of Dota 2. However, we don't know quite yet. Going to go into detail later. And then secondly, we have a small bit of information coming from a rabid fan emailing Icefrog directly asking about some sort of update to Dota 2 since the news cycle has just been so slow. And lastly, we have a small podcast interview held by thesteamcast.com, an interview with Valve Managing Director Gabe Newell and Project Manager Eric Johnson. So stick around for that. They talk a little bit about how Dota 2, some of the problems that they want to address in Dota 2, and cool stuff like that. So stick around for that. Alright, so jumping right into our first story of the day. Swedish online store Compel.se has Dota 2 on pre-order status for the price point of about 380 Swedish kroner, which translates to about $60 United States dollars. And that's roughly the price of a video game, I suppose. Today it's a little bit on the higher side. I thought personally it was going to be like $49.99 or $50, something like that, but I would shell out $60. This is not official, however. The site that reported this also followed up on it by emailing the Swedish online store, and they said that they got it off a recommended price thing from Valve themselves. Whether or not this is true, we don't know. However, this is the closest we're going to get to getting some sort of information, so might as well report on it. Alright, so jumping into our second piece of news for today. Player 13 from the Dota 2 Talk community emailed Icefrog directly asking for new information or what we can expect in Dota 2. And Icefrog has stated that there will be a tutorial for new players that will be included in the game. However, this is not the most revolutionary, and yes, this is not the most revolutionary piece of information. However, it is something, and it is something that is completely confirmed because it is coming out of the mouth of Icefrog himself, who is leading the charge on Dota 2 for Valve. So that's something to go off on, some solid base of information. And lastly, our juicy topic of the day, the Steamcast.com held a podcast interview with Valve Managing Director Gabe Newell and Project Manager Eric Johnson. And although the podcast is more general in terms of what Steam sort of produces, all the Steam games, and not specific to Dota 2, they did touch on some aspects of Dota 2, although they did not go into too much detail. It's worth knowing. So here's a quote from Gabe Newell that really summarizes the meat of really what he says, I feel. He says, "Every time I see one of the people at the elite levels playing any game, whether it is WoW or Dota or Counter-Strike, it is just stunning how good it is. But I think what's also stunning is the terrible job we as an industry have done so far in terms of making it entertaining to watch and appreciate how talented and skilled those people are." And end quote there. That's what he says. This is definitely leaning towards Dota 2 coming, or at least being worked on, to be a fun, spectator sport, and I really got to say that's an awesome direction for them to go with. I know if Dota 2 can amass a big spectating audience, that's going to get the sponsors jumping on the tournaments, because everyone's going to be wanting to watch a live stream of the tournament, going to be watching the tournament because it has spectator value and it's a good form of entertainment. And once you have that audience, that opens up the field for advertisement, that opens up the field for sponsors, and getting the corporate world into this is not a bad thing, because what it can do is propel esports, really make the esports team big, really reward these competitive players, these top level players that have dedicated so many hours of their lives into playing this game, and make that into somewhat of a career for them. I mean, if esports can become something like what sports are today, that's going to be huge, and I feel that it definitely has the potential to. I mean, we're already seeing it happen a little bit with StarCraft 2, with so much money being poured into this, into the game StarCraft 2, and these competitive players earning big bucks from tournament winnings. It's still nothing to live off of. However, it's getting there. It's just, I can see it coming. And this, to me, just seems like the next step forward in the progression of esports really maturing into something awesome. And then Newell goes on to finishing his little talk there by saying, quote, "If I had to pick one problem to tackle in that space, it would be to make it more fun to be a spectator," and end quote. And that is awesome, guys. I'm really excited that the Valve Managing Director, Gabe Newell, is specifically addressing this thing. And then his partner in crime, Eric Johnson, the project manager for Dota 2, also touches on much of the same area. He says, "I think Dota is going to be the product where we are going to focus on this problem being the spectator sport kind of problem." He says it presents some advantages over some of our other games in terms of viewing, just because of the type of game it is. And I know how exciting it is to watch Dota sometimes, even HON, League of Legends. I mean, if you see the viewer count on some of the League of Legends streams, it is insane. And then he goes on to saying, "It has a very well-established, mature professional scene," and that end quote here, here's me injecting some analysis. I mean, that's going to allow commentators and content providers to get the content. I mean, you want to watch exciting players, you want to watch these professionals, and having the professional scene already established is a great way to get that content. And then he finishes that by saying, "We're going to push on this. I think it is way undervalued, and there is a lot of room there," and end quote. And I think this is so awesome that both Gabe Newell and Eric Johnson, some top dogs over at Valve, and in terms of the Dota 2 kind of development hierarchy, really do have this thing in their mind. So that is pretty cool. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up what we have for you guys today for the week of April 25th, 2011. This is Balanced Breakfast, and I'm going to go play myself some Dota and HON, and I'll see you guys next time.